Well, all of a sudden, it looks like summer's coming to an end. We got leaves on the ground. It's cold and nasty and dreary and rainy out. And that's the bad news. You know what? Let's just go right ahead and close this door. Okay, so the weather turning is the bad news, but the good news is I've got some success going on in this Raleigh chopper. You might remember on the first episode of it that it looked like a pile of crap actually, but I got a little back tire on it, looks a little bit better, but of course it's the wrong back tire. It's just one I scavenged from another bike. I got to get a better back tire, but what's even better is I had some real issues with this shifter. Okay, so you see it's off right now, but it was seized dead solid. I mean, it was seized right up, and when I got to working on this shifter, I got it all full of PB Blaster and let it soak, and then sort of tapped it with the handle of a screwdriver, and now, oh yeah, that's working fine. And first what I thought the problem was the cable was seized up, but it turns out the cable's not seized up at all. It was just the plastic bits, the sliders down in there. But so she's fine. I never even took the cable out. I'm going to put it back on the bike, but my real problem was that's all I had. So if you're familiar with the 3-speed Sturmey rear hub, you know I'm supposed to have a nut on the end of that, and there's supposed to be a cable that comes off the end of this to make this hub run. Well, I have had the old chain, but it broke as soon as I touched it. You might remember it was all seized up in episode 1. You could see how stiff it was, and as soon as I went to touch it, it just snapped in two. So I thought, oh boy, ePay is going to get me on that one. What's that going to cost? Oh, but wait, there's a couple old bike shops in town. Maybe I'm going to try one. Well, guess what I found? Look what Buddy had on the shelf. This is what he told me. He says, I didn't know what the real words were. I said, it's a Sturmey Archer AW, I think it is, 3-speed hub on an old chopper. He goes, okay, hang on a second. Looks at his shelf for a couple minutes and says, there you go, I got one left. This one was put on the shelf 25 years ago when I started this bike shop. And look, it's still sitting there, and it's the only one I got. I said, okay, how much? I'll pay anything. Well, he says the price is written on it. All right, $2.75. Now that's the kind of price I like on a old bike like this. $2.75. Gave him $3 and said, keep the change. Okay, but that's only part of the problem, because then, so once I got that attached to that, it's got to go into that. I didn't have the nut. I thought, oh boy, where am I going to find one of those? Well, there's an even closer bike shop to my house that I decided to run into, and he digs through a couple of drawers of old parts and things and pulls out the wrong part first, and I guess I didn't explain what I was looking for. And he goes, okay, hang on a sec. And all of a sudden, comes out with that. He says, this will probably be the last one in town. I bet you not another bike shop in all of London will have one of these. And that's London, Ontario. Maybe London, England has billions of them, I don't know. And if you drop a $5 bill in my hand, you can have it. All right, so less than $10, I get these parts to make my bike work. That's what I like to see. Not going to eBay and paying, oh, this is going to cost you $50, but you need it, right? So it's going to, well, maybe I'll make it 60 because you really need it. There it goes. All right, so there's all your bits. Get that chain untangled. All right. There's the part that goes on into the hub. No, that's the part that goes into the hub right there. And then this is the part that screws into your cable running to your shifter. Right on in there. All right, so I got all the bits. Let's put them on. Maybe I can ride this thing. I'm still looking for the lever bits. Okay, so here's what we got. Okay, so I need the parts that when the shifter moves, the linkage will move the slider underneath and tell you what gear you're in, okay? Because I don't have any of that. I mean, I was thinking maybe I could make something up out of tinfoil and mechanics wire, but if the real parts exist, I mean all the little pins that hold it are still in place. So it's just that part. And no, I'm not going to pay you $100 for that. If you're a decent person and want to send it to me at a good price, I'll mention you in the next update as being a cool person and very valuable to the hobby. I'm obviously not making a trailer queen out of this that I'm going to sell for $1,500. I just want the bike on the road and riding again. The more I look at it, I haven't even washed it yet, but you know what? This might actually clean up better than I thought once I put the vinegar to it and the steel wool. Even these fenders, I think they're going to come up chrome again. I think both of them. Handlebars, maybe not so much. Now here's my real problem, is getting the seat post out and getting the sissy bar out of its tubes. I have been soaking for weeks actually. PB Blaster down in there. Every now and then I walk by it and I spray some more in. But I really don't know what's going to happen there. So if I have to heat these tubes with a torch to get those out, obviously the paint's just going to be gone, and then I'll likely be persuaded to go ahead and do a full restore on the bike. Not like it's a giant job, just disassemble it, sand and paint, reassemble, ride. Alright, let's put this together now. That's second. Let's go back to third. No. It will get third. It's just, it's not pulling in real effortlessly. I suspect there's like a spring that's supposed to pull it in that's not so awesome. Second, works. That is second. I'm not getting first no matter what happens. Looks like I have 2-speed. And this can have second and third until I get this hub apart and see what's going on in there. Okay, I don't really even know where I left off, but a couple of new developments. I got, well, see, I put on this temporary tire, but now I got a couple of a little bit fatter tires, so these ones are, I'm going to put these on. A buddy of mine gave them to me today. They're 20-inch by 2 1/8. So I'm going to put that on. It'll be temporary until I get a proper tire. The other thing, the other new thing that I decided to do is take this Sturmey Archer hub apart and clean it out, because I'm having all kinds of problems adjusting it and it's not working in first gear. It's just skipping. So I think it's time to pull this hub and see what's in it. But I'm not going to go into detail about how I pull the hub apart, because there's lots of other videos that are way better than the one I would be able to make. I did see online that it looks like this is actually the right place for the cable to come to in this, and then it just sort of takes a pretty sharp bend over to the axle. I thought that that has to be wrong, but looking online at the other bikes that are all restored, that's how it looks. So I could really just turn this hub and get into this oiler hole here and just spray it down with WD-40 and get things loosened up in there. But the way I figure it, it's probably pretty rusty in there. Everything else was seized and rusty on this bike, so I think it's best I get that cleaned out. So let's do that now. There we go. That's the little retainer. But I gotta remember which way it goes. Yeah, ball bearings. Oh, I just pulled out the whole race. Oh boy, careful. There we go. And the gear will come off. You know, it's kind of curious how loose everything is. I'm wondering if maybe somebody's been into this thing and maybe I got problems in here. I'll take a look once I get in there. Gotta be careful, there's another washer on there. Take these off in order, put them down in order. And get bonked back on after I clean this thing out. I actually kind of thought I'd see a dry hub. That's it, all of them. There it goes. It felt good anyway. Yeah, I think. What's this little pin guy thing? That comes out and the little notches are up. Alright. Then this guy can come off. Like so. And then everything can come out. Oh yeah. Ah, totally the problem. Alright, let's see if you can see this. Right here. These little cogs, and you can't even see through them. This is just, I think it's all full of grease. Is this supposed to be greased? Because I think it's supposed to be oil. So I wonder if somebody had this apart and greased it. Anyway, these bottom cogs that are supposed to be sticking out this way are not. They're all just jammed into place. There's one on each side. Both of them jammed. Oh, I just found a ball bearing, so I'm going to take care of that right now with the magnet. These ones go there. I'm just not convinced it's supposed to be grease. I'm not greasing it up when I put it back together. I'm going to use gear oil. I know folks online rebuilding these things are using some kind of miracle oil of some sort, but the way I see it, gear oil is pretty thick and should do the trick. So that's what I'm going to use. And if it doesn't work, if that's just really bad, then I'm going to take it apart and do it right. So there you go. I got one monstrously dirty thing here. The bottom cogs are seized, and I think what I'll do is pull these little gears out first. Though they got little pins, they got little pins on them holding them in. So I'm just going to pull the pin. Just going to pull, and then the gear will slide right out of there. So I'm going to do that 4 times. Okay, the sun gear is on the axle. It's fine. It's just sitting there. I can remove this now just so you can see. So, to the parts cleaning tank with these things. Picked up all the ball bearings on the end of my magnet. I think what I'll do is put it in this basket. Yeah. Yep. Done. I was just about to tell you how nice this rim cleans up. It's going to be a beauty. Until I discovered, wait a minute, flip it over this way, just how much rust there is around the rim at the valve stem. The chrome has come off. So I'll still use it till I get a good one. This is the axle, of course. Big globs of grease on it there. I don't know if that's how it's supposed to be. It's not the way it's going to be. It's going to be oil. Well, super not cool. These cogs are all loosened up after going into the parts washer, but I haven't even pulled the pins out, but I can tell absolutely without question someone's been in here. And there's no spring. You know what? I'll pull one of these pins out. Oh, I can do it by hand now. But everything was seized up in here. I'll be careful. Okay, so out comes the pin. Set that down for a minute. And then I'm just going to drop that into my hand. And you know what? There is no spring. Somebody has been into this thing and tried to fix it, and they put it back together and neglected to put the springs back in the cogs. Probably then had no gears or first gear, whatever gear is supposed to grab the outer hub there, the little notches in it, and gave up. And that's probably why the wheel was off of it. Maybe someone was going to try to fix it again, but knew absolutely nothing. And this, you know what? I bet you anything this was done before the internet. This bike has clearly been sitting out in the rain and the weather for a very long time. So my battery's about to die, so I'm going to go ahead and stop there. Now you know my problem. I'm going to have to find the little springs, figure out what to do, and then we'll carry on from there. Alright, well, there's where I'm going to leave it. And I want to do something. I'm not even going to look for those springs in a store or local or anything. I want to do something that I think would be very cool if the YouTube community could get involved here. So if you got those springs, the cogs are just sitting there in grease and they're not doing anything. The springs are missing. Somebody's taken them apart, never put the springs back in. Probably a little kid, didn't know. And I need those 4 springs. So if it says in the description that I'm still looking for them, give me a message. I'll give you an address to send them to me, and I'll change that message in the description saying springs came, thank you so much to, and then people can check out your channel. The chopper guys got to stick together here. Ship them over to me. The second I get them, I'm putting this Sturmey Archer back together in the bike. I got a tire, I got a tube. I'm going to ride it, and it'll be because you send me those springs. So this is how she's going to sit until we get that rear hub. Oh, right on. Let's move along. Let's get this show on the road and get this bike rolling.